The Premier League is back once again. This video is straight after the Game Week 13 matches, as the Game Week 14 matches are actually starting on Tuesday. So I might be doing the stats a bit wrong, but the outstanding matches for Game Week 14 are Bournemouth versus Everton. Probably going to be a very underrated game. And we have Newcastle versus Tottenham. It's probably the most outstanding game. So let's get started and straight into the video. First off, we have Fulham versus Man City. This game honestly could go either way in my opinion. So let's get started with Fulham. I think they have not been the best this season. They are actually currently sitting in 15th place at the moment I'm recording this video. And they've done a little bit worse compared to last season. Like last game, they also played Sunderland and they won 1-0, which is huge. A reminder, I'm recording this on Wednesday, 26th of November, so before the Game Week 13 matches start, so the stats might be off a little bit, so bear with me. But that's a huge win to get to bring them back to form. And who else than Raul Jimenez to score that goal and win the game for them. He's been pretty good for them ever since he signed. Now on to Man City. They've been doing alright this season, although I feel like they're not title contenders this season. They seem to be struggling a little bit because they already have 4 losses this season. Now last game they played Newcastle and they lost 2-1. Both teams had so many chances, just Newcastle were more clinical at the end of the day. Now their game versus Leeds on Saturday, personally I think that's going to be a easy win for Man City, unless the Leeds turn up and do something special. But my prediction for this match is going to be a 3-1 win for Man City. Moving on to Bournemouth versus Everton. Now this game is going to be super underrated, so let's get started with Bournemouth. They have been quite a decent team this season. They have dropped off in terms of form recently. Throughout the past few seasons, they have been, you could say, underrated team, or you could call them underdogs. Now, the game versus Sunderland could be a challenge for them, honestly, depending on if Semenyo plays in the match and if he's available, but also on how Andoni Iraola sets up to face off against Sunderland. On to Everton. They've been doing quite well this season, in my opinion. I think they're a very well balanced team on both ends of the pitch. Defensively, they're pretty good. Offensively, I think they've gone up a little bit ever since David Moyes has come into the job. Now Ndiaye seems like a incredible player with his ball carrying ability and his impact on the team. Creativity, he could do everything, honestly. Standout player for sure for me at Everton. They play a in-form United, you could say, which I thought they would struggle, but they managed to win that game 1-0 with a single man down, which is crazy. But yeah, as I said before, we gotta give David Moyes credit because he's done pretty well with this Everton side. But my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Everton. Moving on to Newcastle versus Tottenham. This game is going to be, I think, the best one this week. So let's get started with Newcastle. They have been not the best this season, if we're being honest, but they have managed to turn their form around slowly, getting a huge 2-1 win against Man City. Harvey Barnes has really been turning up for the club recently. He scored a brace in that match, and he's actually the first player since Alan Shearer to get a brace versus Man City. Little stat in there, but they are a very strong team, especially when they set up in a low or like a mid block. It's really tough to break them down. Now on to Tottenham. They've been doing not too bad this season. Their form has been not too bad as well, although in the North London derby against Arsenal, it did not look good at all. They got smoked 4-1 by Arsenal, and Eze bagged a hat-trick against them. You can't be going into the first like 30 minutes sitting back, having 11 men behind the ball. That's not a way to approach a derby, especially against your rivals. Now that's got to change in the next few games. I gotta put out there, Richarlison did score a fairly good goal, lobbing Raya from like 30 yards or so. But my prediction is gonna be a 2-2 draw between the two. Moving on to Brighton versus Aston Villa, yet another game which will be so tight. It's hard to predict this one, honestly, but let's get started with Brighton. They've been a solid team this season, as per usual, playing some very clean and entertaining football. They're pushing for European football at the moment, being 6th place in the Premier League. They played Brentford and they won 2-1, which is huge. And Welbeck has been banging goals. I believe he has 7 goals in the Premier League so far this season, and honestly I could see them getting European football if they just keep this kind of form consistent. Now on to Aston Villa. They have been a very good team as well this season. Started off rough, but they turned it around. It's amazing stuff from them. Like, I do gotta say, Watkins is one player who seems to kind of fall off a little bit. He's fell off in the past few months or since last season as well. I don't see him scoring or getting involved in the game too much anymore, but maybe that will change in the next few games. Now the star boy at Aston Villa has to be Morgan Rogers. He won the game versus Leeds with 2 goals, and the second goal was a free kick which won the game. Now their game before Brighton is Wolves, so realistically they should win that game quite easily. Now my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Aston Villa. Moving on to Burnley versus Crystal Palace. This game should be going Palace's way in my opinion. So let's get started with Burnley. They are most definitely struggling in the league right now. At the moment they're sitting in 19th place as we speak. I did mention before that they struggle to score goals, but that actually has not been the case as of recent, but it's been a defensive problem now. They didn't have that problem in the Championship, but a step up to the Premier League is a step up a level. They've been conceding almost 2 goals a game in the Premier League so far, but I believe once they sort it out defensively, they could get out of the relegation zone. Now on to Crystal Palace. They've been very good this season. Despite losing a player like Eze in the summer, you have players like Wharton, Mateta, Sarr, who have been doing very well in the team. You have Munoz, who's been probably one of the most informed right backs in the Premier League. Gotta give credit to Glasner because this team has set up very well. The fullbacks contribute so much on the offensive side because they set up in like a 5-back defensively, but attacking wise the fullbacks just push up, so it makes sense. That is why we see Munoz getting up so much and cutting the ball back to the striker or whoever is in the box. Now Yeremy Pino has been a great addition into the squad as well. I believe in the last game he did score a goal. Now my prediction is going to be a 3-1 win for Crystal Palace. Moving on to Wolves versus Nottingham Forest. This game could end up being quite interesting, so let's get started with Wolves. They have been struggling really badly in the league. They're actually sitting 20th place at the moment. They have gotten a new manager in Rob Edwards. He has Prem experience as he was in the Premier League before with Luton Town. Now their squad, it's honestly not even that bad if we're being honest. You just need to set them up in like a organized manner and set them up well against the team you're facing. So personally I do see Edwards maybe getting a few results here and there within the next few games, but they're facing off against Nottingham Forest. It has not been the best season for them so far, but slowly they're actually regaining their form. With Sean Dyche being the manager, players do have full trust in him. Got a massive win last game against Liverpool. It was a 3-0 win, which was so unexpected, but fully deserved because Forest, I would say, were the better side for sure. Now Morgan Gibbs-White, he's back to getting involved into games, getting assists, goals and all that, which is huge for the team because very important player creatively. The defense seems to be more solid now as well, especially under Sean Dyche. My prediction is going to be a 3-0 win for Nottingham Forest. Moving on to Arsenal versus Brentford. I think you guys know who is expected to win this match if we're being honest. So let's get started with Arsenal. They've been doing really well this season. People are apparently calling them the best team in the world at the moment, especially after winning 3-1 against a unbeaten Bayern team in all competitions quite convincingly as well. So Arsenal do have a very strong defense and one of the best defenses in the world, if not the best, and they played the North London Derby in their last Premier League game and they won 4-1 versus Spurs. As I mentioned before, as he dunked on their heads, got a hat-trick. Now Gabriel is going to be out for this game most likely, so we will see Henkape or Mascara will fill in his spot. Now on to Brentford. They have been doing not too bad in the league, but I gotta say Igor Thiago has been been such a good signing for them. Like, I don't know how Brentford always managed to get a striker. They had the likes of Ivan Toney. They have Wissa. I mean, in Buemo, you could count him. Sometimes he was drifting in as a center forward. But yeah, now their form has been a bit on and off though, as they did lose to Brighton 2-1. It was a fairly even game. But in their next game before this one, they're actually going to be playing against Burnley. So let's see how that goes. Now moving on to Leeds United versus Chelsea. I have a feeling this might be a tighter game than usual. So let's get started with Leeds United. Have been struggling a little bit this season. I mean, they've always been quite a solid team offensively. I say this almost every single video. Defensively is where they leak a lot of goals. They got some tough matches coming up as well, which is a big yikes. It's not looking too good. So before this Chelsea game, actually, they're going to be playing Man City. And after this Chelsea game, they're playing Liverpool. So maybe they could get a result against Liverpool, considering Liverpool's form. Who knows? We will see. But they did lose to Aston Villa 2-1 in the last game from a free kick. As I mentioned before, the keeper was honestly not positioned well, and same for the wall. The keeper just did not position the wall correctly. Now on to Chelsea. They have been doing very well this season. They're actually in the title race with Arsenal at the moment. Now form wise, they've been on a good run, playing some very nice football, which is entertaining and good to watch. And we have to speak about Estevao. He has adapted so well into this team and so fast. Nearly every single attack, the ball is going through him. It's actually unreal. I gotta mention though, in the last Champions League game against Barca, this guy scored against Barcelona. They absolutely slapped them up 3-0 and they dominated them, and they seem to have some decent depth as well, so I would definitely put them up there with title contenders this season. Now my prediction is going to be a 3-0 win for Chelsea. Liverpool versus Sunderland is the next game. This game is going to be so interesting. So let's get started with Liverpool. Honestly, it's been a horrible start. So far, a horrible season for them, because they have lost around 6 matches in the Premier League already. Every single player does not seem to be performing except for Szoboszlai. We got Konate looking like he forgot how to defend. Isak looking like he forgot how to score goals and create space for himself to score. Now Arne Slot said himself he's even confused a little bit on what to do. Now that's not what you want to hear from your own coach. They have now lost 3 games in a row in all competitions at the time I'm recording this, and it's not looking good at all. Onto Sunderland, been honestly pretty decent. Coming from the championship and performing like this is actually quite crazy. They have been getting some solid results against good teams. Like last month, they got a 2-1 win against Chelsea. Very surprisingly, they got a leader in Xhaka in the middle who commands the team, and the players who were signed in the summer seem to have fit very well into the team as well. And I could see Sunderland winning this game potentially as well. So my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Sunderland. Manchester United versus West Ham. This game could end up going either way. So let's get started with Manchester United. Now, they've been doing not too bad this season. Form-wise, they've been alright, you could say, despite them losing 1-0 to Everton, who were playing with 10 men as well. And in that game, United dominated every single metric. You got possession, shots on target as well. They just could not manage to put the ball in the net. They were kind of missing that finisher in the box. Now Pickford did save Everton. He pulled off some unbelievable saves, but I'm sure United will try to bounce back versus Palace in their game before West Ham. Now on to West Ham. They have not been doing the best, honestly, but their form has been turning around slowly. This is what you call the Nuno Espirito Santo effect. I swear, at every single club he's come into use, I swear we saw at Spurs, saw at Forest, he has turned their form around and gotten them results. But he has taken West Ham out of the relegation zone, and they have not lost a game in 3 matches, which is a huge positive. Defensively, he does know what he's doing as well. But I've heard the board does not want him and wants him out for some reason, which is kind of crazy considering he has won 3 matches already in a row. My prediction is going to be a 3-2 win for Manchester United. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Don't forget to drop a like, comment down below your predictions for these matches, and don't forget to subscribe as well. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.